Hi everybody, my name is Sandi Boucher and welcome to the Learning Curve. Now, if you don't know me, you may not understand why this program and being your host is so important to me. So let me explain that to you. I am an Indigenous woman, an Anishinaabe, which is Ojibwe for Ojibwe woman, and a proud member of Seine River First Nation. Now, in a later show, I'm going to explain to you why that was important for me to say, but what you need to know is I'm an Indigenous motivational speaker, a published author, and most definitely an activist. I work with a lot of groups and a lot of different people to help create understanding, especially between cultures and especially when it's between mainstream and the Indigenous communities. Now, I live in the city of Thunder Bay, and I have for 25 years. I love this city, and I don't like a lot of what's happening here, those tensions between groups, those misunderstandings, those topics that just keep coming up over and over and over. And that's what the learning curve's about. Because the reality is, not so long ago, the world seemed a lot more simple to understand. Certain things were done certain ways, and that's the way it was. What we now understand is those ways of doing things worked for some groups, but it really didn't take into consideration the experience for the more marginalized groups, and that includes Indigenous people. Nowadays, cities, countries, communities, small towns are starting to embrace diversity. We know that there's a bunch of different cultures and many different groups of people within our city boundaries. The problem is we really don't know how to communicate with them often. It gets uncomfortable, we get nervous, we don't know what to say, and often we don't want to say anything because we don't want to hurt someone or we don't want to disrespect them. The learning curve is going to touch on those topics. I'm going to bring in guest speakers to help you understand and get the facts you need to have the conversations. I'm not here to change your mind. You decide how you want to use the information we're going to share, but I'm hoping you're going to use it to build bridges. Now, I am definitely going to encourage you to call in or to email me topics, suggestions for conversations that you would like to learn more about. What is that topic that you're so confused about? I have a few here that I want to share with you. We're definitely going to be talking about areas of concern or misunderstanding, as I mentioned, and there's many of them. Taxes, well, that's a regular one. Do Indigenous people pay taxes? When do they pay taxes? What taxes do they pay? And I can tell you personally, I'm a status Indian, and I pay taxes on my income in certain circumstances. And we'll discuss that in detail in an upcoming program. Another one we're going to talk about is our regalia. And those are those beautiful outfits that we wear when we dance at powwow. They are not costumes. They are not appropriate to wear as a Halloween costume. And we're going to talk about that in detail and what it does mean and why they're so special to us. Another thing we're going to talk about is education. Now, that's a hot button topic. Why do we get our post-secondary education paid? But did you know that we get less funding every single year when we're at public school level? That's a topic we're going to discuss. And we're also going to talk about our elders. They're not just older people to us. They hold a very special place in our communities, and they're very important to our future. We're going to explain that to you. We couldn't do a show about topics that are important to Indigenous people without touching on missing and murdered Indigenous women and girls. There are women from this community who are no longer with us, and it's a topic we need to discuss. We're going to talk about water and why Indigenous people are up in arms to protect the water for us all, not just for Indigenous communities. And we're going to talk about the blanket of shame. which is the title I've given to internalized oppression and what's that done to marginalized people in our communities and in this country. We're going to look at different teachings and values. Where are we on the same page with mainstream, and where are things a little bit different? And that's information you need to know. Bottom line, we're going to ask questions. I'm going to invite a whole bunch of friends and colleagues in here so they can share their knowledge with you so we can build those bridges we talked about. And we're definitely going to, this is a favorite topic that we're going to do on an upcoming show. Is it Indigenous? Is it Aboriginal? Is it First Nation? I'm not even sure what term I'm supposed to use. We're going to have an amazing discussion on that one. We're going to talk about, and this is a new topic that I've already talked to the guest speaker about it. There was a series of workshops done here in the city of Thunder Bay called The White Problem. He's going to be here to discuss why he created a seminar with a title like that and what was he hoping to achieve. Today, I have an amazing guest speaker for you. Jana-Rae Yerxa is a professor working at Conn College here in Thunder Bay, and she's going to talk about being a good ally and where is the line, what is appropriate and what is too much. And I know you're going to learn so much and really enjoy the conversation we have with Jana. So bottom line, sit back, get comfy. We're going to spend a few minutes together and we're going to walk this path together, the learning curve. It may be a little bit uncomfortable. It's definitely out of our comfort zone, but we're doing it together. So stay tuned, sit back, and wait for our first guest. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye.